everybody, welcome back to Dad Does Videos. Today we're going to be putting together this Trixie Baza Junior scratching post, and all around good fun time for any kitten. As you can see, I have all of my materials laid out here, and I'm not sure if you had better luck than I did if you ordered this, but we had to call up Trixie to send us a new pack of tools. They did not include the right number of, nor the right length of screws and bolts and all kinds of good fun stuff like that when we got the complete box. So hopefully you had better luck, but this is all the instructions that you get. There's no step 1, do this, step 2, do this. So I thought if someone else maybe is a little is struggling a little bit just like I am, I thought I'd walk through it and maybe it'll help somebody else. So the first step, I'm just going to build from the bottom all the way to the top. So this right here, this number 1 is this bottom thing right here. So we are going to put this little cat hidey-hole thing on top. That is number 2. And then we're going to get these 2 number 9 posts. You should have 3 of those. And we're going to use these 2 right here. And we're going to put those, one right here and one right here. And as per the directions, we're going to use C and E, C and E, and D and E. So the C and E's are put together on the bottom with under the 9 posts, and then D and E is under the 2 posts. So if you go over here and consult your handy dandy tool chart, you'll see that we have to use 2 of these and 2 of these. Those are the C and E's. And then the short little one, D, and then the washer. So if you come over here, these are the 2 C's, and this is the D, and here are the washers. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I thought it might be easier to give you a shot of this as I go for this first step. I flipped this over. This is upside down, the cat hidey-hole, and you can see the hole right there in the middle of the screen that I'm going to put the screw into. And this is the top, if you'll recall, that's flipped over, of number 1 here. So I just flipped it over, and you can see where the washer space is. So I'm simply going to put the washer inside of there, and then I'm going to get my D screw and put it in there, and then we are going to use that Allen wrench that came with our set and screw that in. Okay, so I've got this in, as you can see right here, and the screw that they sent to me in the second package of tools actually wasn't long enough, so I had to borrow from the first pack of tools that they sent me and use what was D in that one, which is the one I put in here. It's slightly longer than the D they gave me in the second set. This one is not short enough to actually to screw into that hole. Hopefully it works. So now we're going to move on to these. I'm going to use the same method, put the washer in each of these holes. We're going to use these C screws along with those 2 poles on the left. And hopefully this works out. Okay, so I've got one of these on. I flipped it sideways just because it's a little bit easier to take care of. As you can see, we've got our washer in there along with our C bolt, and it goes in perfectly fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other one in. Okay, so we have these 2 posts on. We have our hidey-hole in there. The next step is to put on number 5, and I have that right here, and that just goes right on top of these. For this step, you're going to need your thread rods, these 2 pieces right here, and what you want to do first is screw those into the bottom. I've already got one in of your number 8 in your number 10, and I'm going to do that one. You could alternatively put them in the holes first, but I have found that it's easier to screw them in the bottom of the posts first and then screw the posts into these holes. So, and as you can see here, make sure let me get one of these out. Make sure the shorter thread is in the bottom of your post. That way you have enough thread that will catch into the holes down there. So I'll put one on so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here's our number 8 post on there right now. And I'm gonna do the same with the number 10 post right in there. Okay, so we have these 2 posts set up and ready to roll. It looks as if the next step here is to get this number 9 post up and going, and that's your 14.75 inch post. And I already have it set up right there. You are supposed to use an A screw that is one of these, which are the countersunk ones that are supposed to be about 1.5 inches long. So one of those. And the way you do this is you have to reach your hand into the Hidey-Hole and screw it in from the bottom right underneath where the post is coming down. Okay, so we've got that one in right there. So it took a little bit of extra effort to reach my hand into the Hidey-Hole, and I just screwed the screw in from the bottom first and then felt around and used the Allen wrench to tighten it up. In retrospect, it probably would have been easier to do that first when I put the Hidey-Hole on the bottom part, but again, I've never done this before and there are no directions. So we're going with what I've got here. Not terribly cumbersome though. It looks like we are going to put number 3 on top next, and that is called the hammock. And that appears to connect from this post to that post, and it is this piece. So we'll see how this works out. It looks like we kind of lay one end of this over the top of this, and then we put a C and E on top, and then we have a B screw on the other side. But I'll give you a shot of that as I go through it. Hey everybody, as you can see, I've got the hammock up. One of the challenges I've run into here is that on top of here, this is where we put this number 6 here in the directions. It is called the cover plate. But as you can see, it's also saying we need the C bolt and a washer here too, which makes no sense because there's no place to put those. All you do is actually screw this part onto that. So that's what we're going to do. I think that's a flaw in the directions here. Okay, so we have our cap on, and again, I believe the directions are incorrect when they say that we need the bolt and the washer for this because it just screwed on just fine, and quite frankly, I don't know where you put the bolt and washer. So the next step is to put your last post on, and that's right here, and you do that the same way. You use the thread rod over here, and we screw that in just the same way we did with the other posts on the short end into the hole in your post, and then screw the long end into this hole. Okay, so for the next step, we want to get number 4 up in that right hand corner, and that's actually the bottom of it is this. This thing goes on top of the 2 posts that we have assembled right here, and it's just gonna lay something like that. We are going to use our final 2 A screws and just screw them into the 2 holes there. Okay, so we have this top piece on, it's nice and sturdy, and then What you do is put this piece on next, and this is gonna go on top like that, and below there's a little piece, there's some overhang here, and you just have to stretch that around the bottom of this piece so it goes all the way around. As you can see on the box, you can tell they kind of did that. Okay, so we have that last piece on top. It looks like we're all in good shape. We have a fully assembled Trixie Baza Junior. As you can see, I have this one piece left over, which I have no idea what it's for. It's not in the so-called directions or the chart, so we're just not gonna worry about it.